So, how do you want to start this conversation?
I think the best place to start is like inform everybody that yes, we are in a collaboration, and yet what distinguishes this collaboration is that we're both coming from two different points of view.
And we never agree.
Yeah, we never agree.
This is why the presentation is a conversation.
Yeah, this is the manageable agreement, I guess.
My practice is really all about the act of experience. I'm not really concerned with trying to find out why an experience happens or what happens, but I want to express how it is that we come to perceive things, how it is that we come to understand the world. Through my research, I found that there are other artists who do the same thing. Basically, it's James Turrell and Bill Viola. They both mention how they want to express the act of experience. Bill Viola expresses that through symbolic language. He draws from his past. He almost died through drowning as a child, so if you notice his work, there's always water or fire element. And he tries to provoke an experience within a viewer to be able to connect to them. James Turrell does something very different. He also wants to focus on the act of experiencing something, the act of consciousness. And he uses this through light, and he uses this through color. He uses this through like one of his work, which is he filled an entire room with blue. And the other one wherein he framed the sky and he framed light in order for people to see it, because otherwise it becomes invisible to us. So these two artists are basically doing the same thing I'm doing, which is to focus on this act of experience. That's what my work's about.
For this project, I wanted to focus on perception. What I sort of gravitated to was, like the experimental filmmakers from like the 70s, which is Ernie Gurr, yeah, he's an American, and also another American, which is Peter Campos. With Ernie Gurr, like there was a film that I saw of his, which is called Serene Velocity. It focused on the act of perception, and it did it through like a very simple cinematographic device, which is like forward and back, and until like you start to not to see, but you start to become aware that you're actually seeing. In the same vein with Peter Campos, he actually made these like installations. When you walk into it, you actually see an image of yourself, and you have to like stop and study yourself basically. So he basically turns the whole experience back on you. You're not gonna see there and like see a pretty picture in a gallery, but then you're there and you're confronted with an image of yourself. And I think it ties in with perception.
I guess that's where our work meets. I mean, in the sense I'm dealing with experience and you're dealing with perception. So basically it links through consciousness and how we are aware of ourselves.
What I also want to talk about is that this act of like meaning making.
John MADA, who's basically an MIT professor, the head of the media lab of MIT basically, and he's written books about code, about digital art. He wrote this book which was about the laws of simplicity, and the last thing he said was that what the most important thing when you create digital art is that you put meaning into the work. You don't forget what's uniquely human about it, especially since you are working with technology.
Exactly.
I think that's why we both want for the work to be interactive, to include the viewer, to make the human element the main focus of the work. Through all of that research, we found that to create this live, sort of real-time conversation, we really had to use the video feedback loop. Whatever image happens on one or the other will affect the other.
And I guess that's the reason why also why we're using a video feedback loop.
Yes.
It's so that the image of the viewer, whoever enters the setup, will be reflected immediately.
Yeah. I think we also wanted to represent the conversation live, like real conversations.
Yeah,
You get affected in real time by what another person says.
exactly.
And this is something we want to do with the work itself.
Yeah.
But of course, through imagery. And the only way to do this was really through digital technology. Look at this side. This is in black and white. Now, if you look at the other side, my hand is in color, but the reverberations are in black and white. So, meaning if we change the effect on either one side or the other,
It will be an effect on the other.
effect. You'll be in color, but the rest of the room will be in black and white.
Before we started the project, we already had these ideas about these collaborative, pieces of collaborative work, which will actually require the participation of more artists.
Sort of like a collaborative orchestra.
Yeah, like a collaborative orchestra. And then when we stumbled upon processing, which is like a programming environment that's built on Java, we realized that it's possible. And with the work that we've been seeing on the web, and with the books that we've been reading about it, it really holds so much potential for digital art.
Because of what we've learned, through the tools that we've learned in processing, we realized we can actually really create a bigger collaboration with maybe 7 people with distinct voices.
Yes.
This is basically what we want to do in the future.
Actually be here now and actually see that it is possible, because before we didn't think that it would be possible to do it.
Definitely. I think because of this project, now we know we can actually do this bigger collaborative work.
Yes.